Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. So in this video I'm going to try to solve this problem. At the same time, I'm going to follow the general interview steps while trying to solve this problem. So let's read through this question. You're given a zero-indexed string S. You must perform k replacement operations on. So the replacement operations are given as three zero-indexed parallel arrays. Indices, sources, and targets all of the length k. So to complete the i's replacement, we need to check if the substring source I occurs at index I in the original string S. If it doesn't occur, do nothing, otherwise it will replace the substring with target I. For example, if we have ABCD, we have the index I as 0, source as AB, and target as triple E. Because AB matches the source, then we are going to do the replacement. Okay, so all the replacement operations must occur simultaneously, meaning the replacement operation should not affect the indexing of each other. So the test case will not be generated such that the replacement will not overlap. So let's say if you have an ABC, if it's index 0, 1, then we have sources AB and BC. Actually, it's very confusing. We don't know whether we should replace AB or we should replace BC with something indicated by the targets. So we don't need to worry about this kind of task case because it's totally illegal. And also, since it says all the operations should occur simultaneously, we shouldn't actually make replacement affect other replacements. Okay, so return the routing string after performing all of the operations. Let's see the example to have a better understanding. So we have the input string as ABCD, we have indices as 0, 2, sources as ACD, targets as triple E, for the F. So we say, okay, for the first piece, which is A, this is a substring starting at index 0. It matches with the A, which is a source. Then we are replacing this A with the triple E. And similarly for the CD, it matches with the source CD. We are going to replace it with 4 of the Fs, which we have triple E, B, and 4F. Alright, so let's see some constraints here. We have the input string as a string with length anywhere between 1 to 1k. The length of the three replacement arrays are going to be the same, and they are not going to be empty arrays. So each of the index is going to be within the range of the input string, and each source or target array will not be empty string. And the S contains only lowercase English letters, source targets only contain lowercase English letters. So it's very strong constraints, which seems to have resolved all of the concerns. We don't see any edge case after we apply the strong constraints here. So having said that, let's see how to solve this problem in general. So to solve this problem, the first intuitive idea for me is to actually slice the original input string based on the index array and also the source array. So let's see, for example, we have, let's just use the first example. We have ABCD input string, index 0, 2, and sources A and CD. So we are going to do the slicing. So the original question description doesn't say if the index is sorted or not. So suppose we need to do some sorting, and after sorting, we sort the so when I say sorting, we should actually sort three of the items together. It's not like we just sort the index array itself. Otherwise, it's going to mess up with the original with the intent of the input. So let's say if we have sorted three of the things accordingly, and we end up with something like this. we are going to do the slicing based on the index array and also the length of each of the source string. So we have the index as 0 and the source string as a, so which means the length of 1. Then we are going to, let's say, get the first piece from the original input string, starting at index 0 and with length as 1. So we will have a here. And for the next thing, we will, okay, so the next thing we will actually do is we say, okay, the next piece within the next splition within the original input string, it would be B, because we don't have any index here that covers the B here. And also similarly for the next piece, we will have CD. So after slicing the original input string, we have 3 slices, A, B, and CD. So A is this piece, and B is a B, CD is this piece, which start as index 2. And then the second thing we need to do is we need to do the comparison and also the replacement. So we are going to do the comparison between the source and the piece, if the piece match with any of the source. So we say, okay, A is actually equal to the first source, and then we are going to replace it with EEE. So and then the second thing, the B, is not actually, we don't need to do any comparison with the source. Then we append the result to the B into the output. And then we see, similarly, we see CD matches with the source CD. We are going to replace the CD with for the F here. So having said that, let me do some summary about the approach. First of all, we are going to sort. The first step is we are going to sort indices plus the sources and the targets using ascending order of indices. So after sorting, we should have the indices to have ascending order and also the corresponding. So we shouldn't mess up with the original order of the mapping relationship between the indices and sources and also the target. And also the second thing we need to do is we need to do slicing. Slicing the input string. And then the next step is to do one pass through the indices, through the slices, and append to go one pass through the slices. When I say do one pass, we need to do the comparison and also the replacement, and also just return, and we will return the final result. So let's say we have k replacement here. Because we have some sorting, the runtime is going to be k log k for the first step. And then for the second step and the third step together, it would be, so in total it would be O of n. When I say O of n, it's n is the length of the string. So in total, the runtime is O k log k plus n for this solution. So actually, when we don't actually need to do the slicing here. That is because, we could actually do one pass through the original input string, which comes to our second approach. So the second approach is we keep a set for the indices. So first of all, I would say the first step is to add the indices into a hash set. So the hash set is for easier lookup in the future. And then what we are going to do for the next step is going to go through the input string once using index-based. So it will be something like I from 0 to length of the input minus 1. So the logic is if I is not within the indices, then we append the character into the result. I forgot to mention that we need to have like a result to be returned finally. Otherwise, if the I is actually within the indices, we need to get the corresponding substring, do comparison, so get the corresponding substring from input, do comparison with sources, with the source, I would say the source, because it should be based on the index. So if the source is something matches, so if match, then we append the target. I would say their target. Otherwise, we just append original substring, maybe, or just the source. And then we need to update I. So we need to update I as I plus length of the source. Yes, so that's the thing. Alright, so for this one, the runtime is just gonna be ON. That's because we are not going to do any sorting. Instead, we are just going to go through the input string once using this for loop. If we okay, so I also mentioned there is a step to add the indexes to a hash set, but actually because the index, so for the index array, it should be smaller than the length of the string. That is because due to the constraints here, which says there won't be any overlap. So there won't be any overlapping about the replacement, which means that the length of the index array should have the length to be smaller or equal to the length of the original string. So having said that, the runtime for this approach is going to be all event. So I think we currently have pretty much everything. Let's do the coding work on top of the second approach, which is a more efficient version. So like I said, we need to have a set contain the integers. So index set, new hash set, and we are going to add everything from the index array into the set. So this is index within indices, index set, add the index. And after that, we are going to do one pass through the input string. So I is equal to 0, I is smaller than s dot length plus I. So like I said, okay, so we need to have like a string builder here. String, I'll just name it as results as new string builder. If index set dot contains the I, if it doesn't contain the I, then we just need to result out append it will be something like s dot car at I, and then we continue. Otherwise, we need to get a corresponding slice and do comparison and see if we need to do any replacement. We will say, so what we would do is we say, okay, so for no, it would be something like string subs tr as equal to s dot substring from I to I plus sources. This would be okay. So actually, it shouldn't be a set. It should be a map. So the key is the number within the array, and the value is indexed within the index array. Otherwise, we will have some trouble finding the corresponding source. Let me update this one to be a map. So this will be a map here. So it will be, we would put the in. Okay, so this should be index based then. 0i is smaller than indices I. The indexes dot length and the plus I. So we are going to put the indices, the value of it, and also the index. Okay, so if it contains a key I, then if it doesn't contain them, we are going to append the character and the continue. Otherwise, we are going to get the corresponding source. Okay, so let's say this is the index. So index is, let's call it index map. Okay, so index map dot get the I. This is the index within the source or the targets. I will get sources index.length. Right, and then we do comparison. If the substring dot equals, if it equals the sources index, then we are going to append corresponding target to the result. You're going to say, okay, result dot append targets index. Otherwise, we will say, okay, so let's see, we will say result dot append the sources dot index, and then we proceed the I with a larger step, which is sources index dot length -1. Well, why we do -1? That is because we have a plus I here at the end. So yeah, so that's what I want to do. And finally, we are just going to return the results dot toString. So I will rely on this platform to help us do the debugging, which is the fourth step of testing. So let's see, we have a map. I should have an integer map. We have contains, it will be index map dot contains key, and then I plus equal to sources source is index plus 1. It says can't find the, okay, so this is the API call. Alright, so we have fixed all the syntax bugs. Let's do, okay, so we definitely have some wrong answer here. We have the ABCD02. So let's see which one is being messed up. Okay, so this the second one is the thing that is messed up by our algorithm. We have ABCD02 and we have AB and EC. So first of all, it's AB. We should replace with triple E. And then another thing, we have CD. So CD is not equal. We should just keep the CD here. But why are we having, so why are we having for the E and then the C? That doesn't make sense to me. Oh, okay, so it shouldn't be, it shouldn't be the source. Actually, here it shouldn't be a source because the source can be different than the original string. So here it should be substring. So okay, so now it's actually fixed. Let's do a summation here. Alright, so that's pretty much it for this approach. So let me repeat what I did wrong here. So we are going to have the indexes we are going to have add the indexes to a hash map. So the hash map is actually the value in the indices array and the index of the array. And then within the for loop, if it matches, then we are going to replace with the target. Otherwise, we are going to replace with a substring. So that's the fix I applied. But overall, the runtime is still going to be all of it. So that's it for this approach and this coding question. If you have any question regarding the approach or regarding anything, feel free to leave some comments below. If you like this video, please help subscribe to this channel. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.